back in
Recording
this,
in progress.
truly back in this right now in terms of fall camp, enjoying exactly where we're at. 3 days in, we've had a chance to, see these guys move around a little bit and, feel pretty good about, what we're doing now. We just got to, look at doing it better. And I thought, coach coming into camp and just setting the tone and the message of, who we are, what we want to be has been really good, for us. I mean, everybody understands the blueprint and process. Now, it's just about, intentional actions and making sure we can get from where we are to where we want to be. So with that being said, I'll open it up for questions.
Okay. If you have a question, put it in the chat, and we'll start with Christian Clement.
Derek, Donovan Kaufman is a guy that ended up following you from Vandy to Auburn. What's your relationship like with him? And then what have you seen out of him this summer and this fall that would make you, what would you expect out of him this season?
Yeah, Christian, Donovan and I, have been close for a while. I think it starts with the recruiting process, right? Okay, you go through the recruiting process, and obviously I became close with him and his family, and they trusted like the idea that I've always talked about. I think in recruiting, it's always about, as a coach and as a program, can you give a better product back to parents than the one they drop off? And his parents felt that way about, his time, even though Donovan went through COVID and in his first year playing, at Vandy, had a good experience. I think they really trusted the idea of I was who I said I was. And so with that, our relationship, has been good. It's going to continue to, grow. I believe this much. We're very much alike in terms of our personalities. He wants to win. I want to win. He's a competitor. I'm a competitor. And I think that's what's shown up for him every day. There's not a drill that he's in that he's not competing, with Smoke or by Darius or, Ladarius Tennyson or Geis. I mean, it's a competitive group, man, but he's an alpha competitor. And, he actually competes more than he speaks. So what it comes down to is that, he's a worker. And those are the type of guys that you want to be around.
Let's go to Mark Murphy.
Coach, could you talk about the big picture goals for preseason camp before you guys get into actually game planning for the season games and the opener?
Yeah, big picture goals are just about, football intelligence, football IQ, and technique. Coach always says, an effort with technique in terms of how we play and what we do. We want to be intentional about what that, looks like. That means every day, looking at the tape, being able to evaluate what we did well, what we can do better, okay, and just trying to stack good days on top of good days. And I think when you can do that, what you're looking at is working towards the idea of being consistent. A lot of people want perfection. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for consistency. I can trust that. Okay, man, and I know what that looks like. And so if we can put a consistent, run stop defense or, pass defense on the field, we can get to situational football and understand third down, the red zone, to end the half, end the game situations. We got a chance to be a pretty good defense. And so with that, you start with the small things like running to the ball, setting edges, stopping the run, eliminating explosives. And then what you do is start to hone in on the ideas of, like how those things factor in, to winning ball games, first, second, third, fourth quarter.
While he's got his microphone working, let's jump ahead to Philip Marshall so he can get his question in here. Fingers crossed.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, lovely. I'm a computer expert, I guess. I fixed it. But, Derek, just talk about the challenges. You walk in here the very first day, don't know a player, don't even know all the coaches. To get from there to 4 weeks from now when you play a game and be ready to play, how challenging is that, and how do you deal with it?
Yeah, I think any newness is, challenging, but I've always taken the growth mindset of, growth is optional, change is inevitable. And so, like, with that being said, I think I'm pretty comfortable being uncomfortable. I've asked our guys to sort of do some of the same things that I ask of myself. And really, it's funny you asked that question because I was having the same conversation, like with my Tiger group. Like we all have culture groups, but we also have tiger groups too. And I think that's part of building culture, relationships with your players. But like with my tiger group, I spoke to the idea that, you know, when you don't have a lot of time, okay, or you feel like you're running out of time because it's an unrenewable resource, the thing that you got to do is make a decision. Am I going to wait until you know, like somebody shows me, okay, that I can trust them, or do you trust, okay, up front, okay, and then look at the idea that, you know, if somebody you know, is not trustworthy, well, then I can make that determination down the road. I started with the idea that I trust everybody, okay. I want our players to be, you know, accountable, you know, for their actions and what they do. I'm accountable for what, you know, I do. And I talk to these guys all the time about that. And so with that being said, it's just about trust. You know, you start with trust. That's going to be one of the, you know, biggest building blocks because, you know, if I can't trust a player Monday through Friday, they don't play on Saturday. Okay, if they don't trust that I can get them from where they are to where they need to be, well then I'm never going to get their best. So, you know, for both of us, it's the idea that you got to trust without, you know, really knowing what's on the other side. I think some people call it faith.
Real quick, what's a tiger group? What is that?
You know, these are just groups, you know, meant for us, you know, meant that we, you know, coach had us, you know, get groups, and these groups are about advancement of the culture, relationships, you know, like how do we, you know, tell our stories and, you know, like have an opportunity to, you know, invest, you know, in our players so that our players see us as more than just coaches. You know, coaching is what we do. People are really what we are. So with that being said, you know, it gives, you know, a sense of purpose because, you know, a lot of times we're more alike than we are different. And it's only through sharing your story that you understand that, you know, we are alike in terms of our goals, in terms of where we want to go, and in terms of, you know, why we love the game. So that's what these groups are about.
We'll go to Jordan Hill.
Derek, you guys moved JJ to the defensive line there near the end of spring. Just what have you seen from him since then and what he is capable of doing going into the fall?
You know, JJ's getting progressively better, you know, every day. You know, Coach Eason and Coach Walker do a good job of you know, pushing these guys in terms of the indie. I think, you know, it's a process. And so, like, for him, just challenge him every day, like, to be his best self and, you know, not getting frustrated, you know, like, if it doesn't go exactly the way he wants it to go that day. I think JJ, you know, is a guy who's extremely athletic and talented and, you know, like, he wants to do everything right. And so, you know, as you're learning, okay, like, sometimes that can be a frustrating process. But I think for him, it's been, he's picked it up fast. You know, he's getting better every day. And, like, the nuances are about repetition. So, like, for him, the more reps he's taking, the better he gets. It's just good to see, you know, like, this big, explosive, strong, and extremely athletic guy, you know, up front because, you know, when you watch him in one-on-ones or when you watch him in 9-on-7, you know, he can move the line of scrimmage. You know, he can move laterally. And I just like the temperament that he's shown, you know, since he's come back from offense to defense.
Next question is Bill Cameron.
Coach, obviously in the pass defense, the pressure is critical, and you've got quite a few guys that are working there at the edge. I know you won't know much completely until you get out in pads Thursday or scrimmage Saturday, but who do you like? Who are you looking at to be your explosive guys from the edge?
I don't think there's not one guy in the room that I don't think can pass rush or be explosive off the edge. You know, edge is a unique position, like for us, whether you're playing in a 2-point or a 3-point, you've got to be somebody who can win. You know, like the one-on-one, you got to be able to set an edge. You got to be able to, you know, have quick enough feet to be able to take, you know, like an inside move, you know, like when needed and necessary. You got to have a counter. You know, a lot of these guys can go speed to power. They can counter, you know, off the edge. Every one of these guys. So to see Eku, to see, you know, TD Moultrie, like Derek Hall has just been fantastic. You know, like Romello Wright. I don't think there's one guy in the group of those edge guys who we can't count on. I think they've got varying degrees of experience, and I think that's probably the biggest determination of of, you know, where they are early versus where we'll be midseason. You know, how much do they know, you know, football-wise, and how fast can we, you know, microwave the attention to detail to get us to September, you know, 4th. But I love the group, and I think every one of these guys, you know, has special talents.
Let's go to Jay Tate.
Hey, Derek, thanks for taking some time to talk with us today. You and Nick Eason worked extraordinarily hard to get Marcus Harris here in the recruiting battle there. Tell me about kind of your vision for him and how he's coming along right now.
You know, the D-line group, you know, has been, you know, good to watch. I think we had some great additions this summer, you know, obviously with Tony Fair, and, you know, you talk about Marcus, but Marcus has been as advertised. You know, I mean, the young man from Montgomery is quick, explosive, strong. His motor runs. These first 3 practices, he's probably been, you know, as impressive. And we've had, you know, like guys up front. I've been impressed with what I've seen in terms of the knockback and, you know, like these guys and their ability to move the line of scrimmage. But Marcus is everything that we thought he was when he came and transferred from Kansas. You know, he's a young man that loves to play the game. His attention to detail is high, and his football IQ is high. And so, you know, like to see a guy who played a lot of ball games last year come in and like fit into that room and actually, you know, like start to lead just by example in terms of what he does, you know, that's needed right now. So this group is in good hands with Coach Eason, and I think Marcus has really, you know, fallen in love with the idea of what Coach Eason brings to the table in terms of his development.
Is he more of an end, or is he playing some inside?
He can do it all, like, to be honest, and that's what you saw, like, at Kansas. You know, he can slide, you know, up and down. He can move, you know, from the shade to a 2-eye to a 3 to a 4, and even kick out and play end. So I think that's one of his strengths. It's just, you know, with the strength and lateral foot quickness, he can play, you know, up and down. And I think that's important when you're talking about trying to create matchups. So for us, we're just trying to create operational, you know, depth on the D-line, and right now that's starting to come to fruition a little bit for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next question is Tom Green.
Hey, Derek, I know you touched on Donovan already, but wanted to ask you about Drayshawn and Vidarius, just what you've seen from them so far and kind of what they bring as kind of more veteran guys there in the secondary.
Yeah, I think it's been by way of the experience in the room, like really challenging, like everybody. I think, you know, Miss Smoke needed Vidarius, okay, and Vidarius, you know, needed Smoke. Obviously, you know, Vidarius played at SEMO. He's played a lot of football games, but I think, you know, practicing at this level and playing with somebody like Smoke, who's played the game, who's seen it at a high level, who not only talks a big game but plays a big game too. I think that's been good for Vidarius. When I look at Drayshawn has walked into a room, man, with guys like Jalen Simpson, Nehemiah Pritchard, and Roger McCrary, and I think Roger McCrary is the alpha of the group. You know, I mean, to be honest, in terms of where we're at. But you know, to have Rowe and you know, Drayshawn in that room. Those guys, again, athletically have tools and gifts to compete. And I think it's just made us deeper. It's made us more competitive. And these guys are competitive, not combative. So they compete against, you know, one another, but they also want to, you know, see each other do well. So you see these guys coaching each other up in terms of what they see. And I think when you do that, man, you're talking about, you know, like the makings of a pretty good group. But it helps to have a Zach Etheridge in your room, you know, who won a national championship, who understands, you know, what it takes in terms of the camaraderie. And so we have to consistently, you know, talk about, like, not looking at each other's game and just looking to get better. So these guys are challenging, you know, each other. I mean, even with games played and the experiences, I think, you know, where they're coming from to where they're at now, you know, it's a big stage, it's a fun stage, and they're glad to be on it.
Okay. Next, we'll go to Nathan King.
Hey, Derek. Last season, Auburn was last in the SEC and in third down defense. Obviously, that was a different team, and that percentage doesn't tell the whole story. But in your experience running defenses, what are kind of your hallmarks for being successful on third down?
You know, hallmarks for successful third down defense, you know, man, put them in, you know, unmanageable situations. That's really what it comes down to. You know, if if you're in a lot of 3rd and 3, a lot of 3rd and 1 to 3, like those numbers go against you. And as you move up the chart, when you start to go 4 to 6 or 7 to 10 or 11 plus, those numbers start to fall in your favor. So that's about being good in early downs and mixed down situations, right? So we've got to find a way to stop the run, okay, and eliminate the explosives and make teams earn everything that they get. And when you get them in those opportunities on 3rd down where when there's 7 plus, you got to go. You got to get off the field. It's about getting off the field, and when you do that, it creates energy and momentum. When you stay on the field, it generally leads to points. So as we start to transition from some of the everyday camp installs to more situational installs, that starts to become exactly what we focus in on. Okay, right now it's about foundation, 1st, 2nd down, and some short yardage. But now it's going to start getting into those situations where we're going to start competing against each other in some mock scrimmage situations in practice. And what you try to do is get like the offense to 3rd and unmanageable, and that's 7 plus for us.
Let's go to Jason Caldwell.
Eric, you talked about Marcus Harris and versatility, having him and Colby Wooden, Caleb Johnson, Zacchaeus, those kind of guys that can move around on the defensive line. How valuable is that for a defense? Because you said you kind of build in depth that comes along with it.
Yeah, you've seen the SEC for a long time. So as you look at where football's gone in the last 10 years, it's not about like 3 or 4 guys playing. Okay, it's about the functional depth of your defense, because with the advent of tempo and RPOs and pace, you've had to create more functional depth. To have guys that can move all the way out and move all the way inside, and to play nose, I think for us is where we want to be. It's about being in shape. It's about, can these guys run? Can they stop the run? Can they get a pass rush and not just be a 1st and 2nd down guy? Because most teams aren't going to let you get your subs on the field. So just looking at where guys like Kobe and like Zacchaeus have come since spring, long ways. Coach Pittman and our strength and conditioning staff did a fantastic job. When you look at these guys, they're stronger. They're more confident in their ability to hang in there and play the run. And as when you line up in this conference, guys are 300. Everybody's got 300 pounders. So you're getting leaned on, for a lot of snaps in this conference. So this functional depth that we're, looking to build, is where we need to be right now. And there's a bunch of guys in the room who you haven't heard of or, we haven't talked about that I think are going to raise some eyebrows, hopefully in 2021.
Question from Justin Ferguson.
Hey, Derek, what all does Tony Fair bring to that room, speaking of the defensive line specifically?
Yeah, we've had to, talk to Tony about, hey, man, bring your best stuff every day. And that's been good to see. Tony's driven. Tony's a father. Tony is a grown man. When I, sit down and talk to Tony, it's like talking to a little brother. So to speak, because, he's older. He's very, very mature. I'm 52. Talking to Tony, he seems like he's 50. He's a really mature young man. And so with that being said, I think anytime you get maturity in a room, okay, somebody who's as quick and as powerful and as explosive, and you add some maturity with that, I think what you get is a calming force who can challenge guys to be better. Like for him, he's got some challenges, that he's working on. I think the bigger idea is, you don't want to be a 1st and 2nd down guy. You want to be an every down guy. So challenging him, to be an every down guy is what myself and Coach Easton are doing, and he's responding. So his maturity is going to go a long way, in that room, for our overall development of this, defensive front. He's played a lot of games, a lot of football, and we want to play good football here at Auburn. You need guys like Tony Fair.
We'll finish up with the 3 questions that are left in the chat. Next question is from Miguel.
Hi, Coach. Which player would you say has showed the most growing during the fall and summer, or which one has surprised you the most?
It's hard to put it on one guy. I thought defensively, as I looked and I think you can say the same about the offense and even where we are special teams wise. I think the challenge is how far can we all go together, right? Like football's a team game, and everybody's got to pull their fair share. In terms of being able to get us from again where we are to where we want to be. If I look at like the defensive side of the ball, I really think what I saw with the linebackers in terms of of how those guys worked like throughout the summer. It's good to see Chandler Wooten back. I mean, when you see a guy like Chandler Wooten who's got so much experience, who didn't play a year ago, just to see where that room has gone, with Steiner and what's happening with, Zacoby and Owen and, looking at Cam and everybody in that room. For me, I just think that group, really challenged everybody like this summer. And with that being said, everybody around, like those guys sort of followed. So, I don't think, any group is that group that really took us over the top. I just thought everybody gave their best. And like when you do that, especially with guys that play as hard as Owen and Zacoby, and then you add a Chandler Wooten in there, that's probably a group that probably has three guys that people either know about or will know about, early in the season. So I just like the group. We'll see how good we're going to be and how far we're going to go here in the next couple of weeks.
Question from Bennett Durando.
Hey, Derek, you talked a little about versatility on the defensive line. I wanted to ask about your nickel position right now and what that sort of looks like and what you're looking for from different positions in terms of making that adjustment and playing there.
Yeah, we'll get a chance in the next couple of weeks to see what the nickel depth is. For us, I'm sure if you've been out in practice, you've seen a plethora of guys working there. What I believe on the back end is that you play your best players. So you may see Smoke Monday in nickel. If I'm looking at my safety situation and saying, okay, man, how do you get the best guys on the field? Guys like Donovan Kaufman, in the play. Devin Geis has been out there, in a little. I've seen Ladarius Tennyson probably, do as well, as I could have hoped coming into, in a fall camp. But we're only 3 days in, right? So, there's a lot of football, a lot of opportunity for guys to compete. I've told guys, jobs are open, and the vacancy window is up or sign is up. So, if they want a job, man, there's 16 guys in that room, and there's only so many guys that can get on the field. Put your best stuff on tape, let it be an everyday deal, and if you can do that, you'll find more opportunities to play, and hopefully we can give the people what they want, which is a good football team.
And we'll finish up with Nathan King.
Hey, Derek, kind of going back to that third down question just a little bit. I asked Zacoby kind of a similar thing the other day, and he said he might be playing a little bit more on third down this season. Can you kind of talk about how different his role might be from last year to this year?
Well, I think anytime you have guys who've played, a lot of football, the IQ is high. So Zacoby can run and hit. We know that. A lot of people call him Ricochet Rabbit because this dude, once he sees it, he's got a different gear. But you're going to see different scenarios on third down. Right now, I'm looking at everybody. Whether we're in base or nickel or dime, that's going to be dictated by game plan and who we're playing. Who's across the way. But each one of those guys, could we stay in some of our base personnel and play some teams that are 11? I think so. When you got linebackers that can run and guys that have played a lot of football, I think that helps. So, substitutions will really be based on, personnel that we're going against, and hopefully what we can do is provide enough, diversity or versatility, across the board where teams that are looking to, know exactly what we do have to search for it, have to work for it a little bit.
Okay. Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care, Warrior.
Thank you.